Yeah. Boom to the hay, all you sports fans out there in the tubosphere, to you, the individual, as part of the collective. Welcome to Fast Track Sports Rock College here on Talk Radio version of the OMSR. I am your brief but concise host, Will the Alternative, ESPN, and or Tournament Thrill. Always do a little show like this, let you know the clip order coming up, and the whys to wherefores. Get a significantly longer highlights related to it. Plus quickie sports rant of the segment. But as part of upcoming Gen 5.0, that's all going to be after the highlights. That way you guys aren't thinking like I'm trying to force feed 3 to 5 minutes worth of talk and you get fed up with it and think it's like all bait and switch. No. There's 2 reasons I do that. 1, sometimes I can get on a roll, and the quickie sport rant is always relevant to the sports topic or subject being covered. 2, it indemnifies the OMSR position. So if you stick around, great. If not, great. You'll miss the highlights. And these are, talking briefly and concisely, Final Four weekend, part 3 of a 3-part series. Parts 1 and 2 earlier. Finally got over my, raise your hand if everybody out there was a little bit hungover from last night. For good or bad reasons, depending on how your school did. It's always a good or bad reason to drink, right? Yep, for me, yours truly, UCONN, and all that. Alright, so it's a little more analysis as to the numbers here in part 3. Couldn't cram it all into one part. Too much good stuff going on there at ESPN. And then the predictions for Monday night's game, the quickie sport rant. I'm just going to throw out some historical facts and UCONN being counted out yet again in this one. Okay, roll clips.
Oh, what a Saturday it was. We're back on SportsCenter. Matt Berry and Jay Harris. Kentucky started the season as the top-ranked team in the country. Midway through, it looked anything but. Come Monday night, they can finish the season the way they started on
Sunday morning hangovers.
74-73 win over Wisconsin.
In case you missed it, a total of 1,780 brackets of the 11 million plus entered in the ESPN.com Tournament Challenge correctly predicted a Kentucky-Connecticut national championship game. Yeah, we had that.
We did.
No, we didn't.
We're not.
No. Our coverage continues from Fort Worth, Texas. Maybe we did. No.
One and done? More like one and getting it done for Kentucky.
The young Kentucky Wildcats have blown up and are on their way to the Final Four.
In the heart of High Noon Country, Big Blue Nation at the Final Four.
Let's not engage in revisionist history. Forget one and done. There was a time this year when Big Blue Nation just wanted this particular group of freshmen to be done. Some of them had given up on them. Of course, they're very happy with them now as the Wildcats are going to the title game for the 12th time against UConn. Jay Billis joins us now. He called the game between Kentucky and Wisconsin on ESPN International. Jay, more heroics from Aaron Harrison. What did you think? What was your reaction to the way the Wildcats handled the high-pressure situation at the end of the game?
It was really impressive. Their maturity level has jumped through the roof over the last 3 weeks. And for them to stick with a game plan throughout the course of a game of taking the ball to the basket, of using those high ball screens and coming off those pin downs and getting into the lane, getting the offensive glass, they scored 46 points in the paint. And perhaps more important than that, they stuck with their defensive game plan and didn't give up. They had to guard for 30 seconds per possession at times, and they did a really good job of scoring off of Wisconsin's turnovers. Wisconsin didn't turn the ball over very much, but when they did, it was usually Kentucky that was forcing those turnovers, and Kentucky did a good job on the glass, and I thought they took Frank Kaminsky out of the game. Kaminsky only had 7 shot attempts, and perhaps we could argue that he should have been more aggressive, but you have to give Kentucky's defense some credit. They did a very good job.
And just a remarkable clutch performance from Aaron Harrison in this tournament in the final minute of games when he can give his team the lead or tie the game. He's made all 3 of his shots. Didn't have a single field goal attempt in that situation during the regular season. So the Cats are going to the national championship game. They'll play UConn there. Jay, UConn made Florida look awful on offense right after they made Michigan State look awful on offense. What is it that UConn is going so well right now on defense?
Well, they've got Ryan Boatwright, and for Ryan Boatwright to put the kind of pressure that he put first on Keith Appling against Michigan State, and then to duplicate that performance against Florida and Scotty Wilbekin is really remarkable. You know, Scotty Wilbekin in the NCAA tournament had been averaging 17 points a game, 47% from the field, and he had 2 turnovers the entire tournament. Now, Ryan Boatwright in this one game forced him into 3 turnovers. He only had 4 points, and he went 2 of 9 from the field. They also did a terrific job on Michael Frazier, who could not find any openings, only had 3 points. To hold that backcourt to 7 points is really an extraordinary performance. And DeAndre Daniels, we talked about having a third scorer to go on along. Daniels had 20 points, 10 rebounds. And Shabazz Napier had been leading that team in rebounding, and clearly DeAndre Daniels had had enough of that with 10 rebounds in that ball game against a very good front line of Florida.
Now, the one thing that you'll see when we get to the national championship game on Monday night, Kentucky's going to have an extraordinary edge and size at the guard position. How big an impact do you expect that to be when Kentucky and UConn play for the title Monday?
I think their strength will be an impact, and their ability to put the ball on the deck and get to the basket. That's going to be important. But what will also be important is the depth up front that Kentucky has, the size that they have, their ability to get to the glass. I think Kentucky's got the ability to wear Connecticut down up front. Now, will they is another question, because, listen, I have questioned Connecticut throughout this tournament. Every time we make picks, I pick the other team. And Connecticut keeps winning, they keep winning, and they keep...
No, don't conk out now.
Connecticut going against a misseeded 8 that was really a 4. But we've got a chance for an extraordinary championship game between some great guards of Connecticut and an outstanding front court and a deep group of freshmen with John Calipari's team in Kentucky.
Seeding of 8 and 7, adding up to 15 since the tournament expanded. The highest number we've had for a national championship game in UConn, as it bookended Florida's long winning streak this season. Hopes to bookend Kentucky's long NCAA tournament winning streak. The Wildcats have won 11 straight tournament games. Their last loss in the Final Four against UConn in 2011.
It's a legacy he... Potent point guard play at UConn, courtesy of Shabazz Napier. The Huskies at the Final Four.
3 years ago, Kemba Walker brought UConn to the state of Texas, and Houston won a national championship. Now Shabazz Napier will try to do it again Monday night when they play at AT&T Stadium in Arlington. We're here in Fort Worth in Sundance Square awaiting the national championship game between the Wildcats and the Huskies. And if Napier is successful in his quest, he and his teammates Neil Scafai and Tyler Olander will be the first 3 men ever to win a national championship as a freshman, and also bookend it with titles as a senior. But Napier's quest for a senior moment will run headlong into Kentucky's fabulous freshmen on Monday night.
We just believe in each other. We want to continue to work for each other and push each other. And you know, when you give everything you got out there, good things can happen.
When you're playing this late in the year, you truly now, you don't care who you play. It's just, let's keep playing. We got 40 more minutes to play basketball, and there's 2 teams standing, and we're one of them. What? That's crazy.
I keep saying, the bigger the problem, the bigger the destiny. We knew this destiny was coming because the problems that we faced, we overcame them together. And it wasn't just one individual, it wasn't just one coach. It was everybody sticking together, and that's what we build UConn on.
So since the tournament expanded, you add up the seed total, this will be the highest sum of the 2 seeds ever to play in a national championship game. 8-seeded Kentucky, which shouldn't have been an 8, by the way, and 7-seeded UConn, which was probably accurately seeded. They'll play for the title on Monday night. Jay Williams, Dick Vitale, and Seth Greenberg back. So Kentucky's the first team in tournament history to win 4 straight tournament games by 5 or fewer points. Will they end UConn's magical run Monday night?
Both teams are on miraculous runs, but when it's all said and done, I think Big Blue Nation will be cutting down the nets. I think John Calipari will get his 2nd national title, and for a couple reasons. Number one, I think the Harrison twins, they have a major size advantage. As long as they can continue to take care of the basketball and not let the pressure be disruptive of Ryan Boatwright and Shabazz Napier, and you have to think that Kentucky has a major size advantage down low. Julius Randle, Dakari Johnson, Marcus Lee, I think that size will be too much for UConn.
I'll tell you one thing. I was so impressed with their defensive effort watching them against Florida. They did a phenomenal job. You watched them against Michigan State. They did another great job. But the one negative they had, even in the Florida game, they couldn't handle Young on the interior. And now, you don't just have Young, as you said, Jay, and said so well, all that size inside to deal with. Randall and Johnson and that whole gang, I think they have too much size, too much athleticism, and Big Blue Nation will cut the nets down, celebrate, and they will dance with joy and jubilation. And think about that. It will be the 3rd consecutive title in the Bluegrass State.
You know what I think of Connecticut basketball? The culture they have is not to get to the Final Four, not to get to the championship game, but to win. That's the expectation that they have at Connecticut. Jim Calhoun started it. Kevin Ollie has embraced it. When I think of Connecticut basketball, I think of great defense. I mean, think about this. Ball pressure buys time to get around and defend the post. They've got a dynamic guard in Shabazz Napier. Ryan Boatwright has the ability to get in the lane.
Wait, you're taking Connecticut?
No, I'm picking Kentucky. I'm picking Kentucky because of exactly what you guys said. I think up front, they're going to dominate the game. I think the Harrisons will use their size and strength to advance the ball. Kentucky wins a national championship.
And that means that Connecticut wins, not all 3 of us.
To say that means that UConn has the Cats right where they want. Game is good enough for the Huskies. 3-0 all time when they played for the national championship. Never lost on that stage.
All right. Good stuff there. So on the Quickie Sport Ranch in the segment, I mean, it's pretty clear. Everybody, including the Dickie-V experience, UConn doesn't have a chance. And the reason that is because the height of the guards who UConn has had to face in the backcourt has steadily gone up. So you got 2 6'6" guys. I submit to you, that's going to make it even easier for Napier and Boatwright because they got quicks. You know, 6'6", you got a little bit longer of a stride for the Harrison twins. I don't think it's going to happen. It's, you know, the outcome of the game, this is not going to be a blowout. This is going to be just like Kentucky has done with all their other games so far this tournament. It's going to come down to the wire. It's going to be awesome no matter who wins. All the video highlights courtesy to ESPN and respective universities profiled. Little shout out to the NCAA. Everything else, to the OMSR. All right, that's it. Thanks for watching. No silly DUIs while you're out there celebrating the final game of the college basketball season. We are later out of here.